This is Doug Stout. It's April 10th, 2014. I'm here with George, Croom, and Phillip Byrd. George, where were you born?
Born here in Newark, Ohio.
Okay. And what was your birthday?
4/17/39.
Okay. And Phillip, where were you born?
12/21/47 in Itman, West Virginia.
Okay. When did you come to Licking County then?
96.
Okay. All right. And George, what years did you serve?
I said 23 years altogether, starting in 19 at the high school. In fact, when I was in my last year of high school, I wore a uniform, Naval Reserve uniform. So when I got out of high school, I didn't really pass my. I went to boot camp for 2 weeks. While my summertime, while I was out of school, when I went back to school, I stayed so I could get out of school, and I didn't pass my Navy thing because I was still in school. So I had to go back to boot camp, and I graduated from boot camp in 1958. Same time I graduated from School of Industrial Arts in New York.
Okay. And Phillip, what was your years of service?
66 to 70.
And you were Air Force?
Air Force.
Air Force, okay. So, George, I know your dad was in the Navy, and you've told me a little bit about that. I want to make sure we get that story, that you both were on the same ship once.
Same ship, yeah. And it was against the law because of the World War II. The 7 Southern brothers all got killed on the same ship together. So the United States passed a law saying family can't be the same ship no more. Anyway, out of boot camp, I went to Key West, and I got aboard a naval ship. And when I got aboard a naval ship, my dad was on another ship coming back from Operation Deep Freeze 4.
Okay.
Well, the next ship going out in Operation Deep Freeze 5, that was 6 months, and we both put on the same ship. The governor didn't realize we had done this. You know, I put in for the USS Peterson, and I was on the USS Brow. He put in from the USS Peterson, and I was on USS Sarsfield, and he was on USS Brow. So we both put on the same ship, and we went to Operation Deep Freeze 5, and New Zealand was our home port. Well, thanks for when the ship took a 45-degree roll, which means it's halfway over.
Okay. It
could go either way. And the United States, the captain had reported to Washington that our ship took a half degree. When they did that, they had to find out who was on the board ship. And they found out me and my dad was aboard the ship at the same time. I was working for him. And at that time, what they did, they sent over a chopper first. No, sent over an old tanker, an Australian tanker. When they sent this old Australian tanker over, when they send the basket over underneath the water, so they said I'll drown if I go in it. The next day, they sent us chopper over, and they made the captain trying to reach the basket. Well, so one day the basket kept on swinging past our head. The third day, John Kennedy personally signed a statement that he's going to change the law just for us to stay aboard the same ship. So I served my time on that ship until we got back on port, which was Key West.
Okay.
My dad stayed on in the Navy, and I got out for a couple weeks before I went back in, because I was basically a reservist.
Okay.
You know.
Did you pick the Navy because your dad was in it?
That's the reason why I picked it, because Dad was in it. And then that's the same way with my kids. All my boys went in the military, and they picked it, except my oldest one. He picked the military police, because I was a police officer too. So he picked military, but he picked the Army. My other 2 boys one just retired last year from the Navy after 20 years. The other one stayed in 6 years as a reservist, but he went in as a police officer. He's now a homicide detective in Columbus. So all the boys were military and also police officers, including my dad.
Now, so you were still a reservist or were you still in the reserves when Vietnam?
Yeah, I was a reservist, but I was overseas.
Okay, and then, so you had enlisted. Phillip, did you enlist also? Did you enlist, or were you drafted?
No, I enlisted.
Okay.
But I went to Well, in fact, I got the report. But I graduated from high school, okay? And, you know, when you get your certificate and everything, well, my recruiter stopped everything and gave me my papers to go. Because, see, I already been up to Pittsburgh and all the tests and everything. And this was like a year before. So for a year, my senior year, I already knew what I was going to do.
Okay.
And everything. But, but see, what was so funny about it was my mom and my dad didn't even know it. And so when I got the diploma, right, the recruiter said, and he said, the next day, he says,
Wow.
it's time to go. Yeah, and so they gave me, because I'd been in that reserve for the whole year.
Yeah.
And see, like I said, my folks didn't even know I was doing this, because I went through all these tests and everything, and they said that I was very good at math and all the stuff things, supply and everything, and the contract and everything. Yeah. So I knew this.
Mm-hmm.
Just started on my senior year.
Yeah.
So I was already in, But when they gave me my papers, they said, hello, hello. And it was so funny because all my people were looking at him. They said, what have you done now? Because he said the next day, and my graduation day is a weird 606, 66. All sixes, And I remember that. And like I said, and so I already knew, and then but I always knew I wanted to go into the Air Force. Like I wasn't like I was trying to. I just went out.
Okay. So you knew you wanted to go.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what, you chose that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And but then.
You ever get your draft notice?
Huh?
Draft notice ever come to you?
Oh yeah.
That happened to me too.
Yeah, they.
I got a draft notice, and I was already in the
Yeah,
reserve.
yeah.
I got draft notice from the
Yeah,
Army.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
same.
but yes, I got that, but then I already put before
me
they
too, I was already
give
in.
it to me. See, I already done. I knew what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Because my down in Wheeling, you had from high school, you either the coal or the steel. Because I wasn't going to go to college or nothing, so I had a choice, and and I wasn't going to the coal mine, no,
So
and I wasn't too about steel mines either, and everything,
So you picked the Air Force.
Yep, so I went to the Air Force.
Yeah, see what when I went in, I was still in high school, and my mom had signed for me because I was too young to join. But mom signed for me since I was a reservist in high school. So my last year of high school, on Thursday I wore a uniform to school. Then after I got out of high school, I went straight down to Brooklyn Navy Yard for my meeting. Then of course the next year I turned 18. See, so that's when I went to Chicago, Great Lakes for my training.
Okay.
But I went 14 weeks. The 14 weeks was much easier than the 2 weeks in Bainbridge, Maryland. It was only 2 weeks. But what happened? I was studying so much from high school, I couldn't study, at the Navy too. So I didn't make my next rank. So since I didn't make my next rank, I had to go back to boot camp after I graduated from high school, and that's when I went for 14 weeks to Great Lakes, which is very, very easy. That was very, very easy. Going there, the 2 weeks when I was in high school, going to Bainbridge, Maryland, was they put me with a Marine outfit. You know, so whatever Marines did, I had to do. So that was kind of hard. But when I went for my regular, I was with Navy. So a lot of things Navy do now, Marines don't have to do. You know what I mean? I had to learn how to swim. You know, which was a chore for me a little bit. But I got over that, and that's the main thing is not basically swimming, but if you can stay where you at in the sea for 3 days. If you can do that for 3 days, you're okay. But see what happened if you basically swimming, you can only swim for an hour or two, and then you're dead. So they didn't teach you how to basically swim. They teach you how to, if you fell overboard, how to stay right there for 3 days without going under. You see me? Well, that was the main thing for us. Then a lot of guys after they learned how to do that, of course, it was easy for them to swim after that. You know what I mean? Just to stay there for if you can stay right there for 3 days, you're okay. You know what I mean? But you know, one of the biggest careers for me, and that was the first time with the president. I wish I had the papers that he signed for us. But the next thing was Truman. You know, as a young kid, you know, I was telling you about Truman, didn't I? I never realized when I had open gangway as a laundryman. When I left Key West, Florida, left the ship after I did my laundry, it was maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, and usually the first one to get off the ship was the captain. And after the captain leave at 8 o'clock, then the guys can leave. Well, they made a special thing for me since I was laundry. I might, I would just have to sit there for maybe a couple hours, or sometimes when the guys didn't have to work, I would start working already. You see what I mean? So my hours was a little different, so they made me open gangway. Well, anyway, when I got off at 6 o'clock, sometime in the morning, when I went to the back gate, there's a Japanese submarine, which they caught in America in World War II, and that Japanese submarine has only one man in it. One man's submarine. They captured it. Anyway, when I passed that and went outside the gate, the White House is right there. And I used to meet Truman every morning. I meet him with his white dog, and we walk down the street. And sometimes, if I'm late, the guys at the gate say, "Hey, sailor, the president he just left. He told me to tell you he'll see you tomorrow." I said, "Oh, okay." Because what happened when I walked down the street with him, as on the same side of the White House, when he came to the corner, he turned to stay where he was at on the White House. Right. Well, I crossed the street going into Duval Street, going into town. See, and that happened every single morning, except weekends, because weekends I was off. But that Monday, when I came in, we waited for me, and I'll tell the guys, is the President Truman come out yet? He said, not yet. Or I'll wait for him to come out. Sometimes they do the same thing. They tell the president, say, "Hey, the sailor, do you walk where he's gone?" And he said, "Oh, okay," and he's gone. Right. But not until I got older did I realize I walked down the street every morning with the President of the United States. When I was a kid, you don't ever think. You're 18, 17. You thought that was a normal thing that people do.
Yeah.
But now, after the thing, I said, gosh, that was a really big blessing for me.
Yep.
Walking down the street, talking to him. Never saw a Secret Service man to this day. Never seen a Secret Service man. They had to be around somewhere.
They were somewhere, right?
They were somewhere around.
But you didn't know.
I ain't never seen him. Yeah, I never seen him. It was just him and a little white dog. He picked as he come out of the White House. Because right there in Key West, there's a place called White House. Okay. And that's where he was at. And today it's still there. But I don't know if any of the presidents here go to the White House there. But it's kept up security and everything in case the president ever want to go. He has another building called the White House. It's just like the White House in Washington D.C. Yeah. But it's just a small building than the building there. That was one of the amazing things.
I guess.
Yeah.
Phillip, where did you do your basic? Where did you do your basic training?
I did my basic in Amarillo, Texas. They had I had to go to Amarillo because in San Diego they had a epidemic about something about some kind of flu or something in Lackland, and so I had to go up to Amarillo.
Okay.
And for the 6 months I was there by basic, and then my schooling for supply and everything. And I, in fact, I did that evaluation. For my schooling, it's supposed to have been 12-week course and everything, right?
Yeah.
I did it in 10. For 2 weeks, I went right through there, So I just sat around there and prayed, marched and everything, and praised and doing everything I wanted to do, But I remember that, I got to because I went right through that course like it was like.
But it's a funny thing. During our time,
Yeah.
black soldiers, sailors, we had a lot of problems actually being a different color.
Okay.
One of the problems that I had I remember when I got on a bus, and when I got on a bus, being from Ohio, I got on a bus, and this was in Virginia. Got on a bus, and I was sitting next to a little old white lady, and I sit there, and I was sitting there, and she started talking to me. I started talking. Anyway, the bus driver came to a stop. He halted right in the middle of the street. He came back, walked. He said, "Sailor, you got to go back to the bus." And I don't know why I had to go back there. Well, anyway, what happened, as I got up, this little white lady grabbed my collar. She threw me back down on the seat. She was strong. This little white lady, she was strong. She says, "If he goes back there, I go back there." I'll never forget that. And he looked at her, and he looked at me, and he waved his arm like this. Forget it. He went back and drove the bus. Anyway, when I got up, I didn't know why I was taking him. I'm young. I didn't know why, I was taking her for letting me sit there. But not till now, until I got older, I realized that when I got on the bus to show how prejudice was, even blacks at that particular time, I'll never forget that two older black ladies and a black guy, when I got on the bus, they got on the bus at the same time. And the first thing they says, "Are you trying to start problems here?" Because they're used to that. So I didn't know. They were used to, this is how they lived. See, so I didn't know none of the case where I was real younger, and I never get this where my dad was stationed in Virginia, and my mom took me. We left Ohio, got on a bus, we went to Virginia, and my dad was still working on the base. And my mom, I asked my mom, "Can I go into this place to merry-go-round?" And as we went to the place where merry-go-round, and I wanted to ride a merry-go-round. Anyway, there was this white sailor came, and the white sailor came, and he knew Dad, and he says to my mom, "You're George's wife, aren't you?" And my mom said, "Yeah, how do you know?" I said, "Well, he's a friend of mine." He said, "Here's what I want you to do. You pick your son up." So Mom picked me up, and he picked Mom up, and he carried her outside this gate where the thing is, and he carried us all around Virginia, places where I can go, places where I can play, with her. And then when by the time Dad got off, he took us both back to the base, and that was one of the biggest blessings for me. The biggest tragedy of this whole thing, I'll never forget, where this had to be 1945, because him and my dad, after that, went aboard ship, and they went overseas. Anyway, a kamikaze Japanese aircraft hit the ship, killed him. My dad survived, but I've always wanted later on in my life to say thanks.
Right.
Just like this little white lady, I always want to say thanks to her. But you never get to say things like that. So for me, what I do when I see color doesn't make any difference to me. That maybe God put that and made that like that. You know what I mean? Because I can see how equal everybody is now. You know what I mean? Yep. So that helped me in my older life to see how things it really is. You see what I'm trying to say? So that was kind of a blessing. A lot of things like that has happened to me. It was just a blessing for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So did you run into that same kind of thing?
Oh yes. Like I said, I'm from Wheeling, West Virginia, and like I had no problems at home. You know, white, black, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as I had the service that I get Texas, right? It was a whole different thing to talk about. And so anyway, first day in the basic. I got in early and everything, right? So the first guy came in, and so I got into the room, right? The next day, I got a roommate. He was from Mississippi. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the first day he said, "Boy," I said, "Time out." I said, "Look, my name is Phillip Byrd, and your name is Ray Allen." Okay, I remember that. He said, "Boy, you would do what I tell you, and in which you would." I said, "Really?" And he said, I said, "It's not what?" He said, "Well, I just whip your ass like I do anytime." I whipped his ass. I jumped on him so quick he didn't know what happened. You know? And so by the time my DI could get in the room, it was all over. Right? And I thought I was going to go to jail on my second day of service, right?
Break time coming. Mm-hmm. Break time.
Yes, I thought I was going to get it. And I said, look, he called me a boy. I will not respect it from him or nobody else. You know? I said, I call you. Their name is, and you better call mine. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said, look, man, he says, he got him out of there. He said, I'll put you in another place. He said, look, he says, please give me somebody that got some sense. You know? I said, if I got to go to Byrd or whatever, fine. I said, but he's going too. You know, so the guy said no. He said, we're just trying to get it together. So he separated us. But I told him, I said, if you look at me wrong, I said, I'll whip your ass again. And I mean, just boy.
You never used to think.
Yeah, and he didn't know. Yeah. Evidently, he knew. And I'm looking at him. I said, "Are you crazy to see?" And I was not used to that, you know, because you know, like.
And that's how he was raised.
You know.
And he was raised that way.
Yeah, he was raised that way. Yeah, he was raised. And all of a sudden, he come through there, man. He got the wrong at the wrong time because, like I said, I was real skinny then, you know, and so I had to really fight, you know. But And then when I found out, you know, like, when I went off base and everything, right, they had all this time for white, and I said, oh, buddy. And I said, now I got a problem. I said, now, you know, like, if I'm in my uniform,
right,
you know, I got to walk over here, and I said, no, you know, I said, they ain't right. You know, they looked at me. In fact, I got my first day get off base down to town, right? I'm sitting out there and I'm looking over there, and I'm looking all what you can do, you can't do nothing, and I happen to be sitting on the white side, you know, and this cop comes, he says, "What you doing, boy?" I said, "Time out." I says, "You see this? Yeah." I says, "I'm just trying to figure out what I can do and can't do." You know? He said, "Well, boy, it's time for you to move." I said, "Why? I'm just standing." Right? He said, I said, "Reason." I cussed him up one time. The other next thing I know, the gun, and I'm down in jail. But had to get me out. But see, I didn't. But I cussed. I mean, up one down the other. I called motherfucking. I was cussing. Because see, you know, like, you know, I got to be. Well, I dare you that, but you can't do this. You know, and I'm thinking now.
Yeah, Charleston.
You know.
Yeah, Charleston did the same way. I couldn't walk. I remember a guy walking down the street, and a police officer went past and says, "Boy, you can't walk on that side of the street. You got to walk on that side of the street."
Yeah.
And you're
okay.
in your uniform.
I was in uniform, so I had to walk. And then also in Charleston, it was signs put up. It says niggers, niggers and sailors.
Yeah.
They didn't like sailors either for some reason. Stay off the grass.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. I mean, there's no. But holding out, rumor was that we have tails.
Oh, yeah.
Tails, yeah. And stuff like that. Man, come on now.
I'll tell you what happened to me. I was telling him. Him yesterday. We were talking about this.
Okay.
When I was in New Zealand, and just for my wife and everything, and I was younger, and there must be about 20 guys got married, and they flew back to America with the instead of coming back with us. They had 20 guys flew back with their wives, and I almost got married, but I didn't. Anyway, I never forget when I was walking down the street. It was me and another white sailor walking down the street, and we had these two New Zealand girls, very nice people, and the girl says, "You have a tail, don't you?" I says, "No, why?" She says, "We always say you had tails." Well, I mean, I would never do this today, but I'm a young guy, and I said, "No." She says, "You don't know." So right in the middle of the street, here, look how stupid it is. I pulled my pants down and showed them my butt, and I thought really the girls were going to freak out, but they didn't freak out at all. They said, "Look, he doesn't have a tail. Come on, let's go to the pub and let's have a couple of beers." They didn't think none of it. When I told them I didn't have a tail, they was just. I thought they were gonna be shocked because I did what I did. But see, they're used to nudity and stuff like that. Yeah, see, I'm not, and I'm thinking I'm trying to be smart. You know what I mean? Yeah, I ain't got no tail. See, so they didn't think none of that. I'm the one. I have always thought about that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The first time man said talking about tail. Now what?
Yeah, it got a tail. Yeah, that's what they thought. I'd had a tail too. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. I never heard that. I mean,
Yeah.
So people actually thought that?
Yeah, they also thought in New Zealand. I was in part of New Zealand I was in called Dunedin. Dunedin, that's right down at the coast right there. And they really actually thought, and in fact, the captain of the ship says, "George, over here," he says, "I heard you were very close to the girl. He says, we're not going to stop. If you're going to get married, we're not going to stop you." He said, "But as you know, over here, it's okay. But when you get back home, see, during that time, they didn't have black and white didn't marriage that much. You know what I mean? It was Lena Horne, a real big movie star. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But regular people didn't. So I says, "No, I'm not planning nothing like that." So what happened? I turned around and. We didn't, but at the same time, this is really a big strange thing because the girl at the time was actually pregnant, and I thought her, when she got pregnant by, he was going to basically come back, and they was going to get, So I didn't say anything, but when I never forget with the little girl, I named that little girl. I named her Bonnie or something. Often, and the little girl has to be during that time. The girl herself has to be in the 48 or something today. And I often like to see what, because mom eventually she did, but she married an Englishman. The English ship came, because we had English ships and French ships came in New Zealand at the time. And after I left, I left that little area have a lot of Indians they call the Maoris.
Mm-hmm.
And the Maoris, that was a real big thing because the Maoris, they had a whole chief and everything came out for me. I'll never forget that. And they had the feathers and all that kind of stuff. And they threw hats. And I threw my hat to them when the ship pulled off, you know. And the girl, her and her parents, I think her parents passed now, you know, but she was a real nice person. In fact, since I've been back home, she has actually wrote me a letter.
That's neat.
No, but she's married and I think she got a couple of kids now besides the one I knew. You know, but she never went back to the same guy. She went and met an English guy who ship pulled in, and she married that guy. You know, but.
So was the service? Were you segregated in the service by that time, or they?
I went to service. In the service, I was okay. When I was in the military, actually, I was okay. I mean, when my boot camp, when I was in boot camp, when I really first saw anything about the prejudice was when it was senior guys. They learned how to teach me how to swim, and as I was trying to learn how to swim, this is my very first time in boot camp. I was still in high school. I was only like 16 and a half, something like that, 17, because Mom had signed for me. And every time I made a mistake, they took their hand, and put my face and put me in the water. And I gasped for breath, and they pulled me back out and said, "You're going to learn how to swim." And I kept doing like that, and I never getting out there crying, leaving. And they was laughing at me, you know, as I went across. But that was when I was real young. That's the very first, only time, actually in the military. That you know, you had in the Navy, you almost had to learn how to smoke too, because when you do your painting and all that kind of stuff, painting a ship or painting something, they wouldn't give you a break unless you smoked. And when they said the smoking lamp is lit, I found out when the smoking lamp was lit, I was still painting. The guys that was with me who smoked can get up and smoke, and they talked and everything, and I didn't smoke. And I'm still painting, you know. So I had to learn to smoke. I had to get pack of cigarettes, and I just puffed, you know.
Right.
Called myself smoking, you know what I mean? Just someone to say smoking left was left. Oh, time for me to get up too.
Well, yeah, that's not right.
yeah. And I think that's still going on today. I think it's the smoking lamp is lit, and then when they said that, when they announced that over loudspeaker. All the guys put their tools down, and whatever they're doing, and there was a break for them. See,
but if you didn't smoke, you didn't get a break.
Yeah, you smoke, you're still working, you know.
Wow.
But after I got out of service, not only after I got out of service, but I kind of learned how, while I was in service, as time went on, I learned how to get around that. You know what I mean? When they said the smoking lamp was not lit, I just went up with the other guys, you know. But the young guys don't know that, you know. The young guys know they had to keep working, you know. And when the smoking lamp was lit, then the guys pull out their Paul Malls or Phillip or whatever at that time, and start smoking, you know. And the other guys who was painting or whatever they're doing or fixing something, they had to they had to keep going. That's so strange. But my Navy career was one of the best things I ever did too. I mean, I never gotten into one of the best things that ever happened to me in my Navy career. You know, a lot of things like that happen. You know, but it taught me. You know, as a person. You know, as a male to my fellow people. You know, it taught me to more. You know, be more of a man than anything else. You know, it really helped me. I think it really. And I think since my dad really had me to, I mean, I followed after him. Then when he got out of the Navy, he was one of the first deputy sheriffs here in Lincoln County. And then, of course, when I came back home to Lincoln County, of course, I wanted to follow him again. Then I was a second.
Right.
So everything he did, I did. You know what I mean? So when he was in the Navy, I always put his shoes on when he came in for leave, you know. And then when he went away, I always wanted to do what he did, you know. So then when I went in the Navy, Dad stayed 19 years and 6 months. That was considered 20 years. Okay. And I stayed 23 years all told. My oldest son, he just retired. Basically, he was in the Army, but he just retired about 6 months ago, and he stayed 32 years in the Army. But he knew all of us was police officers, so he went in as a military police officer. My middle son, Darryl, he just retired from the Navy a year ago, and about the last time I saw you, that's when he retired. Okay. At that time, and now he's at Satira Hospital. He's a police officer at Satira Hospital in Virginia. Okay. After he retired from the Navy. My baby boy, he stayed 6 years in the Navy as a medic in Virginia, and after he did 6 months, he came back out in the Navy. He got on a Columbus Police Department. Now he's homicide, and he's got 26 years of homicide detective in Columbus, and he's got like another year or so, and then he'd be retired. Right. So everybody's military and police. Yeah. In my family.
Were you just in basically one spot in the Navy? I mean, or were you in the Pacific and the Atlantic, or?
Yeah, I was all over because I was on 7 destroyers all told. Okay. I was on USS John Hood, USS Pierce, USS Peterson, USS. I was on Saratoga for a little while, not that long, but all told was seven destroyers I was on. Okay. And then my wife's younger brother, I got him to go in too when he went in. My last years in the Navy, I was a reservist because when I got on the sheriff department, I was still reservist. Okay. I did all my active duty. I did maybe about 10 years active and all that kind of stuff. And I still stayed. And when I got out of basically active, I still wanted to have part of the Navy, so I stayed in the reserves. And I got on the sheriff department at the same time. So as I was on the sheriff department, my wife's younger brother, Melvin, he wanted to join the Navy. So he joined the Navy, and I want to be with him because we still got 2 weeks a year. Mm-hmm. So my last ship, I got on, and you know how to learn how to do this. Like I said, I was 23 years then, and the ship was in Virginia, and I want to be with him for the 2 weeks. His ship was parked right next to this little small minesweeper. Yeah. Well, anyway, the weather was so bad when I got on this, when the minesweeper, I stopped, and you had to go down the steps and get to the minesweeper because the water, everything was out. Everything was so windy and everything, because usually all you do is just walk across. Okay. But the tide was out, and I had to go, and it's so bad, and it was getting ready to go to sea. And I said, no, I'm not going to be with him. So the first thing I did, I went to the office, and I said, guys, I should have did this, but this is what I did. I said, guys, I want to show one of my guys my pay record. Oh, you do? He said, you just come aboard. Yeah. You're Croom. I said, yeah. Oh, here's your pay record. Make sure you bring it back. I said, okay. I went back up those steps, and I told my wife's brother, take me back to the aircraft. The reason why I did that, you don't have to take nothing else with you, just so you take your pay record. Once you take your pay record, wherever you go, and what happened, it was such a little small ship, and as a reservist, you call yourself training. They had no, I would be just sitting on that ship with water acting because they had nothing for laundry and nothing like that. Nothing for me to actually do but just ride the ship out. So when I got back to New York at the time, I went straight to the base, and I says, I was on this ship, and I could do no training for my 2 weeks. So if I got my pay record, oh, you get your pay records? Yeah. So you probably had to tell those guys that since I had no training, that's why he came back there. And that's what he did. and I did my training in New York for 2 weeks. But see what happened? Also, I got paid too. See,
Yeah.
a lot of guys, what they did in the military, a lot of guys don't realize they grab their regular records,
Right.
and take with them, and you can't get paid. They have it, but you might get paid a month or something.
Right.
You know? But once you grab those simple pay records,
Once you know the trick.
yeah, once you know the trick, you know you get there, you can get paid. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I know to do that. You know, and I want to make sure I wasn't, you know. And I think a year before that, I was in Virginia, and for just 2 weeks, I was on the sheriff department, and my weight had gone. I was like 30 over weight, and I was this admiral, and the admiral says he sent me back home. Well, Annie's family is in Virginia, so I came back and said, Annie says, you was on the base there for a week. You're supposed to be 2 weeks. I said, well, the admiral sent me home because I'm not fit for military service. You're not fit? I said, yeah, because my weight gain. I had 19 years. I think I had 19 years on then. I said, oh gosh. So what I did, I had another 30 days before I go to before I come here for them to check me again. And when first they did, they saw my pay rate. They saw my things. They said, George, the admiral said you're not fit, huh? I said, yes. You got 19 years. And I said, well, look, can you weigh me again? And when he weighed me again, I said, something must be wrong. They had the wrong scales. What I did, I went on a crash diet. I ate nothing. I had nothing but water. I lost something like 30 pounds in 30 days. So when I got back to the base over here, so I said, we got to write that letter, that admiral letter. I said, well, don't write nothing bad to him. I said, no, but we got to tell him that you're okay. You're fit. You're okay. George, get on the record. And I got on. Gosh, no, you're 30 pounds lighter than this said. I said, well, what happens? I knew myself I had 30 days to get that thing off. And I went on a complete crash diet. Nothing but water. Because, you know, he only had 1 more year to go, right. And I had 20. Of course, I stayed 3 more years after that for 23. But I said, no, I'm not going to do all this time and not retire. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I did that. I went on a crash. Poor Annie's, every time she said, you want this? I don't want anything. And I was tired. I was sick. I was sleepy. You know what I mean? And I was dizzy all the time. And when I got there, I put my uniform until like I was straight. I couldn't wait to get her back home to eat. I couldn't wait to eat. Because I definitely didn't want to. You know, then lose my retirement.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But I did 3 more years after that.
Phil, where did you go after basic? Where did you go after your basic training?
After basic, I went straight to Thailand.
To Thailand?
Thailand and Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? So you were stationed in Vietnam?
Yes.
What? You in charge of supplies? Is that?
Yes.
Yes. So you didn't have to fight?
Huh?
You didn't have to fight with a rifle?
No. What happened was Air Force UA's supposed to, but in the time of war, what happens happens. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was in a place called Nacon, Vietnam. Okay. And they used all the planes to bomb Vietnam. Okay. Well, anyway, when Tet Offensive came, the whole zone was under warranty. So therefore, I was on foxhole on the outside of the perimeter for the air. You know, we had foxholes and everything. I would give my rifle, my pistol, my couple grenades. Now I'm in this foxhole, right? Now it's dark, okay? Mm-hmm. You know, like might be about a half a mile from the base, okay? okay? And like I said, we're on this ravine, okay? And everybody got a little mic and everything, right? But see, and all of a sudden, you know, like they said, if you get fired on, I had to call somebody and then I can fire. And I have always a problem with that. You know, because, you know, I'm thinking,
Your life.
you know, I mean, I was Air Force now, hold it now. Only thing I wanted was supply and stuff, right?
Right.
But all of a sudden, they put me in a position, like I said, I'm just an airman, right? Wherever they say you do, you do.
Right.
But then when, after they put me out there, right? And all of a sudden they talk about, yes, if you happen to see something or somebody shoot at you, you call the one at the far end of the thing, right? And he will let me know it's time to fire, right? Well, just so happens, well, you like I said, I'm on the top of the ravine, right? And I'm looking across, and finally, you know, and I looked out there, and all of a sudden, I seen two trees all of a sudden moved right down this ravine. I'm looking right at them, right? So I called man there. I says, look, somebody's trying to come to us, right? I ain't seen nothing. Then somebody says, oh, yeah, I ain't said something. Well, somebody shot something, right? Well, I was given 3 grenades, right? I don't know, to this day. I had 3 grenades. I threw both of them. I had 3 rounds in my ammo. I burned them off like a boom, boom, boom. When I got to the thing, I was going the way back this way. I told them, gone, right? Like to say, I don't know who I killed anybody, hurt anybody, but I got, because I'm Air Force, right? Now here, you're like, the Army was supposed to come, you know, because when we heard everything, I heard they're on the way, right? Well, by the time they got this way, I was going that way. You know? And I always figured out why. You know? Why do I have permission? If somebody shoot at me, I think I can shoot right now. But I have to call somebody to order to do something. I was like, nah. And luckily, whoever it was, I don't know if the dude on this side seen something and shot anyway, but that gave me an excuse, man. Like I said, I had 3 grenades, I threw them, I threw out 2 clips, and when that third one, I was going that way.
I mean, you know what?
And they tried to tell me, because when I said I was going, the Army was coming back, but see, I was going this way, me and a couple dudes, right? And they tried to get me for leaving the post. I said, no. I said, hey, number 1, I am not Army.
Yeah,
and they tried to take me up to what's that? Running from the enemy, right?
Disciplinary,
yeah. Yeah. But I looked at this. I was Air Force. Okay? I don't know who the Army is or nothing. You know?
You guys are like a bunch of women. We hear you yakking on the way upstairs.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, like, and I always have a problem with that, you know? And like I said, when they got me, and much of us, and they tried, I said, now, I'm Air Force. Now, why you know, and this like I ran from the enemy. Now I don't know who the enemy was.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but also I know something was out there, and I ain't because I was not guilty of that. You know, from basic, all there basic was rifle.
Well, you got rid of those grenades.
You know,
Got rid of those
and
grenades.
I knew that. But see, the only thing Air Force gave me was books about any supply. I mean, from down to food, all the way, any kind of supply, I could take care of it.
You know,
That's the only thing I was supposed to do.
You know, it's a funny thing.
Yep.
Because, you know, I tell you, when I was on, I think I was on the USS Pierce. And we just come back from, we was on an operation and we went past Cuba. And Cuba had a tendency to send little gunboats out. I mean, we could blow them around our water. But they coming out and they're shooting 45 at us. And we were sitting on the deck, and boom, boom, hitting the deck. And the announcement came over the loudspeaker, take cover, you know, not on the decks. And we all take cover inside, you know, and the captain put the helmets on and everything. And they come right to the ship and shooting 45s at us, you know. And the captain was told not to shoot back.
See, that's another part.
And they're right there shooting at us. It's something like about 3 or 4 of them, you know. Now, if they try to come aboard, then we can blow them out of the water. But just for long as shooting, and they wasn't shooting big shells like 3 inches. Now. They were just shooting their little 45, boom, boom, boom. So we just had to take cover. And as we left the area, they just turned around back. They were allowed to shoot at them. And what's so bad about it too? In Cuba, in Gitmo, you know, I've been there about 6 times, and that's where the time the ships used to come in. We used to come in at Gitmo just to you know, to stay overnight or to fix something on the ship. You know, and we still have Gitmo still there, but and from Gitmo, there's people who work in Cuba come into Gitmo to work. Even today, they come to get to work, but some of the people there in Gitmo still don't like us, and they shoot at us. That's strange.
Yeah.
You know, like right now, you know, Gitmo's now mostly used for like prisoners and stuff. You know, when I was there, it was, you know, it was more or less like somewhere to relax. You know, and if we want to go to Gitmo City,
Right.
we could. But of course, now the guys are not allowed to go to Gitmo City; just allowed to go to Gitmo. You know, on the base there, and like eat lunch or something like that for stay a couple of days, and then the ship leaves Gitmo and go back out to sea.
Yeah.
You know, but it was funny. You know, now that was really funny how that was, and that happened to a couple of ships.
You both shared when we talked before about how you were treated being soldiers or sailors in the Air Force when you came home during Vietnam.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can.
Yeah, when I came home I remember when I got off the ship. The ships on the bases have lockers, and we couldn't have American. Now they're not allowed to do it, but we couldn't have civilian clothes aboard ship, but we can have them in lockers. So when we came home, we changed on the base. Got off the ship. And we went to our locker. We all had lockers, and from the lockers, then we went on. You know, like when I came back to Ohio, because we wasn't respected as servicemen. It's like we was traitors.
Right.
And who had a lot to do was what's her name? The movie star.
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. She had a lot to do with you know, them turning against us like that. You know what I mean? So. Because, you know, a lot of people like movie stars. But here we are, we fight for our country. We had no, only reason why we're over there is because our country sent us there. We're here, our own people. it was kind of turned against us. They they just had our guts, as we came back, and we wouldn't even tell we was ever in the military. And so I told my son not too long ago, I said, you guys got such a blessing, because now even when you come home, even how many times you have said people thanks for your service?
Yeah, now they do.
Now just last, we had the last when they closed, when they had all the stores, restaurants, they gave us free food. Who was that? That was
More Day.
Yeah. Well, what happened? Over I had to Red Lobster. Me and my wife went to Red Lobster, and usually more day I wear a uniform, and I had my uniform on. And the lady stopped me. She was from her and her husband. I think it was in St. Louisville, and she stopped me and says, "Thank you for your service." I said, "Oh, thank you, miss." And what happened? She says, "Here, I want to give you this," and she gave me a $50 gift certificate, and that was just last year. So it was such a difference, I mean. Yep. Yeah, I didn't have to pay for my Red Lobster meal. She took care of that for me.
So,
you know what I mean?
So did they? I mean, when you came home, did they just say things to you, or did
they cursed at us, and cursed at us, and said things behind our back. They called us little pigs, and I mean, we're no good.
Was it a certain, age group people that were doing it? Was it just certain age groups?
Look like everybody was doing it.
Everybody.
Didn't matter.
Like I said, when you come back and they spit at you, and like I said,
they spit at you too.
Hey, come on. And see, our problem, and I had a problem with the folks doing everything against us. If you ain't been there, why are you doing it?
Yeah, what are you doing?
If they ain't been in the position, why you against me?
And we were still over there.
Yes. The government sent me there. I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
The government sent me there.
Yeah.
And everybody was on us and every day, and I wouldn't tell nobody that I'm here for.
I would never tell them I was on the
military. I wasn't saying nothing because the reason I didn't do it no more for a long time, because every time somebody, it was a fight time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a fight. Yeah.
And see, all these, it was always those folks that never been in the position.
They were in the military. Never.
That's right. Wasn't in the military.
Yeah.
And
only one that was on our side is our families.
Yeah, that's it.
Mom and dad, and they mom and dad. Of course, dad was himself.
Yeah.
He was military too, so he got the same thing I got. You know what I mean? That was a shame.
Yeah.
How long did it take before? How many years did it take before you think that we straightened up? I mean that we started actually seeing that Vietnam was a service to your country, and that the people's perceptions.
I didn't want a war start happening. Don't you think?
No, I think when let's see what I'm gonna say. There's a couple of wars. The first weapons from Iraq, the first one, when that started.
Yeah.
Okay, but but what really started everything around was when they hit the bombs.
In New York.
Yeah.
And I tell you,
you're right. I think that's what it turned out.
And I think another thing would help me a little bit too. I was called back when remember him when they built the fences. They separated Germany, West Germany.
Okay.
When they separated. And it was the president said to knock down no walls.
Uh-huh.
Well, before when they put the walls up, they called me back. It thought there was gonna be a war, so I was working at Boulevard Watch Company in New York, and they called me back. I went straight to a ship. They got hold of me when I was on Boulevard like 12. I got hold of my wife and told her to get my uniform ready. When I got home about 2:00. About 2:30, 3 o'clock, she took me down to the ship. Yeah, Brooklyn Navy Yard. I was on about 4 o'clock. We was at sea. That's so about within 4 hours. When they called us back, I was at sea, and I stayed at sea. I stayed aboard ship and at sea, and North Pacific for a year or so. It was about a year and a half after they called me back. And then of course, when they did that, looked like when I came back, it started relaxing a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and then when it started getting more, when they hit that World Trade Center, it really changed things. Because they were having, they hit home.
Yep.
That's what happened. They don't realize when they hit home, when they hit there, we was over there.
Yep.
They had us right there.
Yep.
When they hit over there, the only thing they did, it hit us where our home is. But we was there all the time. It was been hitting us all the while. And a lot of things they didn't realize that. Only they realized that we went over there illegally. That's what they was thinking. Why you guys go over there? Well, the government sent us over there. Where we gonna go to penitentiary?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So we went gladly. You know, we wasn't fighting going over there. We were gladly we went over there.
Yeah, but like I said, and I also for every serviceman doing what they're doing right now, more power, at least somebody they're preaching. But what they did to us before, oh man, I was very pissed about my government because the way they folks did. Because what Uncle Sam said you did, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but see, like I'm so glad that they're doing better for the
too.
servicemen and everything, and I'm so glad. But see, just my point is that Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, and all these places, you know, I was told to go there. In certain positions.
Yeah.
Oh, like recovery of planes and bodies.
Yeah.
They were sick. I didn't ask to do it. They told me to do it.
Yeah.
Okay? And I still think about those two planes, those bodies. To this day, you know, to this day, you know, when I think about it, I know exactly where they was. You know, the planes, whatever. I can remember it. The smell of the jungle and everything, you know. And see, they put in the position, you know. And then when I tried to tell these BS about my problems with thinking about that and all this and that, and they talk about, nah, don't. But look, they put in the position. I didn't go there. I didn't go in that position to carry no plane.
That's why it's good when you go over there. That's why when like even going to VA, it's good to see these guys that went over there when we did.
Yes.
The younger guys that's over there, they still don't understand. They're like my son now. He's been 31 years in the military, but he didn't have, even though he went to Iraq, he didn't have what we had.
Right.
We had to fight. We not only had to fight the enemy, but we had to fight our own people.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, we had people. We had our own people to fight against. You know. Plus, we had our race. We had that to fight against. We had everything to fight against. So when we came back, we was a mess. When we came back, we was really a mess.
Yeah.
You know, when we came back.
Yep.
You know, we didn't know exactly. You know, you had a tendency. You don't know where you're right, where you're wrong, or whatever. Because the country is saying, I mean, like Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
And she's saying you're wrong. A whole bunch of people. How many people didn't like Jane Fonda at the time?
Well, you know, see, you know what happened? Another thing. When I was in the service, when those people in Kent State.
Yeah.
And that was all that.
Yeah.
And that's when Vietnam and everything, when all the guard cut those people down in Kent State. And then Fonda.
Yeah.
And that's when all the bullshit, and that's when they start spitting on you and calling you
all kinds of stuff.
Baby killers and all this.
Yeah, they were saying all that kind of stuff.
Look, Air Force. Now, I'm with my uniform. Now, what do I know about killing some babies? And shit like this and split on and all that.
And do you know how many, also when I was in there, you know how many young 10-year-olds killed Americans? I mean, they had their machine guns and stuff, and it was really, really bad when you want to shoot back at them, but it was killing us. Mm-hmm. We couldn't even treat them that as that they was little kids. That's why there was a lot of guys during that time. You know, I forgot his name was Cali. I think he wiped out a whole village. You remember that?
Yeah.
But I understood why he did it. I really understood why he did it, because even though there was kids there, those kids also were shooting and killing you too.
Yeah, everybody, they got him for doing it.
Yeah,
but
they did.
Somebody
told him.
Somebody told him.
That's right. Because
I'm gonna tell you,
we know that.
I never figured that.
Yeah.
You know, but why? Okay, like he may have done it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But somebody above
told
him he could do it.
Yeah, that's right. And that's where they wouldn't they didn't want to say it, and they knew.
Yeah.
They knew how things was over there.
Right.
You know, they sent us over there, and after they sent us over there, they don't want to. They didn't want to protect us over there. We was all for our own self.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It was all, you know. When you was military over there, you got like my son. Now he's, like I say, it's been 31 years. Even him on certain things, he didn't have to go through what we went through.
Right.
The guy who's he has 31 years there. He even went to Iraq and everything. But the 10 years, the 5 years the guys had in Vietnam was completely different.
Right.
It's not, you know what I'm trying to say, even though a lot of guys got killed over in Iraq and things like that. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, we didn't have women either, if you remember. It was only men that doing that. Women couldn't even fight or nothing like that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to ask you a question. Here's something else. See this dog tag? What's wrong with this dog tag? Can you remember just looking at it? You don't even have to look at the name. What's missing? Do you remember anything? Do you remember a notch or something on it? Do you remember a little hole somewhere? You remember the little notch? Usually be a little notch there.
Yeah, come think of it.
You know what the little notch was for?
No.
There's a little notch you just hear, because when they find any one of us, they say he found me dead, and they had a dog tag on me. They take that little notch from my teeth and you kick it in there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now see how they have now. See, it's not like that now. See,
right.
But during that time, they had
Yeah,
they put in
you're
their
right.
teeth with
You're
that
right.
little notch right there, and they put it in a soldier or sailor's and they kick it in their feet, kicking their teeth. So when their body is wasted away, the teeth is still there. And they know exactly who that person is by looking at this here.
Yeah.
Is that something? Yeah. I mentioned to my son even night. He said, "Oh, I didn't know that. He's been 31 years."
Yeah.
So a lot of things changed when we was there.
Yeah.
If we go in there right now, it'd be a breeze.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wouldn't be nothing like when we went in there. I mean, we fought everything. If we just had to fight the enemy,
right?
It wasn't as bad as it was. You know, I always got killed. But when you had to fight the enemy, then you had to turn around and there was a lot of pressures. A lot of guys from Texas, a lot of guys from Louisiana, they didn't like blacks. You know what I mean? And when you was over there, it was kind of tragic.
Oh.
You had to watch your back. You had to watch your back.
Hold it out. Show you just show how much the service. Okay. Tell you good reason. Okay. I'm in Thailand, okay? Martin Luther King got killed. The word came to when it happened, right? Well, bunch of us, the blacks, every people, we all went back to the parade and we was just a bunch of us and we talked. Well, just so happened There were three dumb white dudes from Alabama stood right in front of my grave and stopped with their guns on, right? Talking about it's a good thing that Martin King got killed and the rest of y'all can do it too. Well, that's all it took. We ran over them and anything that looked wrong, whether they did anything wrong, it's just like when those three made that statement, you know, here it was the white black thing again. But like I said, when we rioted from those three dudes, we tore by half the base before.
I heard about that. I heard
Yes.
about that. Right. I heard
Okay.
about that. I heard about that.
And the captain, the major, commander for the base, right? When we finally calmed down and everything, and he came down and he said, look, he said, boys, he said, a bunch of us, he put us in the
I know he's separated.
airplane
Yeah.
and sent us over.
right.
And I was pretty sure I was in Vietnam, but it was nothing. He said, to y'all calm down. He said, we understand.
I heard about that.
Yes.
I heard about
And took us about 60 of us, and I was one of them. They sent me to another place for a couple weeks, and while they got some of those other folks out of the way, and this is why I was back. But like I said, those three dudes who were dumber than dumb,
Right.
when they said that, cause like I said, and then again it was that Rachel thing. You like when we ran over top of them, anything, it didn't matter they said anything or did anything. We were just in that mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard about it.
I heard about it.
Yeah,
I heard about it.
and like I said, I was pissed about, but when he said that, and not knowing he said about Martin King, he said, and y'all too. Now, see, that was the problem.
Yeah.
You know, see, I have a problem because, see, number one, only thing I was doing my job. But when he said that, now, this came personal.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I noticed?
You know?
You know what I noticed too? And as time goes on, I remember when I was, that's part of that. I was with guys from Ohio.
Uh-huh.
I was with black and white guys from Ohio. And son, I never get, I had to stop a lot of fights that the guys in, like in Texas and other places, because the guys in Ohio, the white guys here in Ohio, protected me a lot. They understood, you know, what I was going through, you know, because they played with us here.
Yeah.
But in Texas, there was different breed of people. You know what I mean? And they, but I never forget when one guy. That's what it was. I went to eat, and the guys said they ran over there and they went into this door, and they went to this restaurant. Anyway, I followed when I went to the restaurant. They didn't know I couldn't get in. I couldn't go to get in the restaurant. So I said, no, you can't get in. So I went around and they said, you can go in the door there. I said, I don't know. I thought maybe that door is closed now. And there was a little door. I opened the door. Boy, they had a smell in there. They know they had, it was just like a little room. And they raised the little, the guy raised up a little, like a little window. And I saw my white friends over there. They were just looking for me. And I couldn't tell them I couldn't get in.
Right.
So the guy who went said, well, I just want a sandwich. The guy gave me the sandwich. I paid for it, went out, and I waited for my dare. And I told the guys what happened. Say, what? They getting ready to go out and go back in and tear the place out. I said, no, guys, don't do that. Don't do that. I said, this is how they live here. Well, they said, well, George, you know, we're not used to nothing like that. You're not, you mad at us? I said, no, you guys had nothing to do with none of this stuff. And I hang out with these guys all while I was aboard ship, these guys. they knew. They didn't know what was going through, what was all this stuff was happening, until they was with me. And when they was with me, they were shocked to see these things was happening. They didn't think it was happening. We was, 18, 19, 20. They never seen that stuff before too. And they were really, really shocked. It must be something like how my dad was this young guy I tell you who got killed. He's probably like him. He right there. I think he was from Ohio. Him and my dad was together so much, and when I guess my dad knew that my mom couldn't take me anywhere. In fact, she couldn't go a lot of places, and I guess he knew it too. This white fella, and the white fella came out looking, and it's so funny how he found us. Because you talk about you going out somewhere like Norfolk looking for someone, and then he turned around and find us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He found us in this merry-go-round, this place. And he found us there. But anyway, make a long story short, found out how that up north basically it was okay. We had a little here, but it wasn't like, what I'm trying to say, you can get around that here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But down there, it was such a way where it was just really, really bad. The people we picked as protectors, as military people, police officers against us.
Yep.
The bus drivers.
Yep.
I wouldn't get in a
Well,
taxi.
see, I didn't know that.
I wouldn't get in a taxi.
Yeah.
I would just walk. Then I find out even when I was walking, I had a problem. I had to walk on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
In uniform.
And
In uniform.
like I said,
So-
when I got in there, same thing.
Yeah.
I'm from West Virginia.
Yeah.
And see, down there, now we had our little problems, but it wasn't, like that. I didn't, I go to the same school, I go to the same movie and everything. I didn't have no problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no problem.
When I got in the service, got to Texas,
That's what it was.
oh,
It was shocking.
I mean, it blew my mind.
Oh, I would think it would. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you've gone back in time 100
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going back. It's like
Yeah.
they never had nothing else
Yeah.
different,
And
It's like it's almost like that they had never seen color. But it had to be these guys who joined military there
yeah,
probably knew the score. The black guys who lived in Texas probably knew the score. So when they came out and they saw certain things, it was a normal thing for them.
yeah.
Because that's how their parents came up like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I even know, like, when I went to Virginia, Annie's father and the next door neighbor, they live on they're sharecroppers. They live on the land, and they're real good friends that next door, real good friends. And I noticed Annie's father called a fellow next door, and they went to play, they went to drinking together and everything, but they were the same age. But he called him Mr. John, and Mr. John at the time called Annie's father Joe. You see the difference? And even this day when I mentioned to Annie little things like that, I said, Annie, why can't both of them be called? Why can't you call them? Well, that's how it was down there, and they was very, very good friends. But not until I guess not, and they went different places, and they went there all kinds. Last year, the son of this man, his son came around the corner. This is out in the country. That's where Annie's brother and stuff live, in Virginia. He came around the corner and he lost it. He had little things of drugs all around it. This is this white fella. Well, Annie's brother jumped out of the car. He's real good friends with him, and he wasn't on drugs and don't drugs. He said, no, he's going to get in trouble. Well, first thing he did, he took a train. He got all the drugs, threw them in the woods and all that kind of stuff for him, and picked him up and said, hey man, we got to get you out of here. There was that like this. You see what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. So even but he called Dylan Melvin, and he called the other one Frank. See, as time went on, it was different. Things changed even down there. It was different. Even though it was different then, they was real good friends. Annie's father was a sharecropper and everything. He called his friend Mister. just like I'll call you Mr. Phillip, and you call me George, and we're good friends. I would never realize. That's how it was down there.
Yeah.
They didn't realize the separation until now. The younger generation, now they don't have no trouble nowhere with these now. Like I said, George and all the other 2 warriors in the military. No problem. My other son, my other grandson, my other grandson, he's in the military now. He's an officer in the military, and I want to show you something. This is my wife, and this is my grandson. He's an officer in the National Guard. And look at he went to college, right? And his college was his college was $65,000, right? And National Guard paid for the whole thing.
Good.
And he's a lieutenant in the army, and I pushed him heavy. You know what I used just realize how military really is, how much it really helps you and everything.
Yep.
And then and last night he says, "You didn't push me." I said, "I'm gonna knock you out." He said, "Okay, I know you pushed me," but now he's in there.
Right.
But there's so many people now. They don't push they don't want. Well, if you can do without being in the military, it's okay. But some parents are telling the kids, "Oh no, I don't want my son to get killed." See, well, my mom didn't do that. My mom said, "Hey, your dad went over there. He did his share." When I waved my hand, my mom signed the papers for me. She loved me and she prayed for me every day. But she knew this was America, and she knew everybody had a hand in hand to keep her safe. You see what I'm trying to say? But a lot of times today, a lot of people don't push their kids at all, and I think that's another reason why we got so much drugs on the street. These kids running wild. If they had a draft, you know what I mean? Because during that time, if you remember the Dirty Dozen, that's real. Remember those guys had penitentiary rap on them guys, and they sent them in the military, and they got to be okay. They were good soldiers in the military. You ever heard of Dirty Dozen? Those guys got to be. You see, that's how it is out the street. They get these guys in the military, get them off the street. We have a much better country. But they had the all volunteer stuff, and all that kind of stuff. That's not helping us that much,
So when you got out, George, you went into law enforcement.
Yeah, well, what happened? I was still my last 3 years. I was still reserves. Because I had 20 years. In my last 3 years, I was still reserved. And when I came on law enforcement, I still once a month I was going back and forth from here to Right Pat was the okay. We call the guys that build bridges. And stuff like that.
Engineers?
No, but they call them something else.
CVs?
CVs.
Okay.
I was on CVs. You see, and it's still there now. But then I went down on West Main, down on Broad Street. Changed from there for my last 2 years. But what made me, I probably would have stayed in probably a good another five years. What made me get out is I made ship sergeant here.
Okay.
And when I made ship sergeant, a lot of guys who was actually off, they had to take my place. So here's the guys that other sergeants wanted to be home with their families, couldn't be because they had to come down and take my place because I was gone for 2 weeks. So I decided to retire, from the Navy after 23 all told.
When you got out, Phillip, what did you end up doing?
About anything,
Right.
because first of all, I was going to be a mortician, funeral and everything, because when I was growing up, Mr. Brown liked me, and I worked for him. You know, in fact, my dad worked for him, right? And so, like, when I was in service, he said he got papers and everything for him to go to college and everything to be a mortician and all the stuff and get into business, right? Well, when I seen the bodies of more than enough that I should, and I seen what happened and everything, I couldn't do it. I finally told Mr. Brown,
Just couldn't do it.
I can't do it, so take your money and do something. Because he said it all for me, you know. And because, like I said, I showed Mr. Brown how to bomb and I knew the whole thing,
yeah.
you know. But once I seen it, you know,
It did something.
and then when and I looked and I said, not only recovery of not only that, a couple of them that been shot,
Yeah.
blowed up,
Yeah.
and everything. I said, I can't do this, you know, because they like said, all in my records that I knew about bombing and all that. So a couple times I had to be in the place, and when the bodies, I could be there, you know, and I watched it, so I couldn't do it no more. So after I got this service, and I come back home, I just about anything I've done. All right, let's see, my first one, I for a while for the bank messenger for a couple years. Then I think I went to railroad. I went in there and I could do typing and all the other stuff, you know. And so they sent me down to this place called Martinsville, West Virginia. Well, here is 74, somewhere around there. Anyway, I'm down there. Well, down in West Virginia, okay, I go back to Raymond and I go down there and I have to sit there, you know, on the base, you know, I have a match and I can sit there and everything, right? And I have to go get my food. But see, what I didn't know, that was only one other person black down there. Down there.
That got you.
So I mean number two. Well, see, when I walked through the door, you know, like I said, once I got there, started to my shift and everything, right? I said, well, where do I go get me some food because I can do my food and everything, right? So I went down and I walked around. They said, well, you go over here and there. And I said, okay. So I walking around the corner and I went this way, right? And I walking by and dude ran into a fire because he was shot. Because I mean, big and bold. I'm big and bold, you know. What you doing, boy? I said, I'm just going to get me some food. Right? And the folks was looking at the, oh, Lord. I said, leper or something, you know. So I went up there, you know, got one, and I come back up there, and you know, like I said, and everything. And I said, damn. And that 4 years I was down there, that was scary. I mean, because, and like I said, they had KKK people down there.
And that's what is that? That's where were you born? You were born in West Virginia too, weren't you?
Huh?
Were you born in West Virginia?
I was born in Itman, West Virginia, but I was raised in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Really? Okay.
Right up on the corner where the tracks are.
Yeah.
And everything, right? But like I said, when I had to go down there on the railroad, and I went down and man, those were the precious suckers in the world, you know. But see, like I said, I would just stay on the yard and everything, right? And I would stay there, you know, do my own food there, and then when I get ready to go, going to Willie, if I got a couple days off, I get on the train and go that way. But oh man,
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard the mines down there too. I got a couple of cousins at the mines in West Virginia, and the mines. Something happened. A whole bunch of them got killed somewhere. In West Virginia, in the mines. Yeah, and one of them was a cousin of mine, as I understand. He got killed. Yeah. Because when you go from here to Virginia, and
Blueville,
I think it is. Yeah. Because when you go here from West Virginia, there's one restaurant. I forgot what it is. It's halfway from here to Virginia. You ever go that way? Go 70. And there's one restaurant. And when you go to the restaurant, you see a lot of whites and you see a lot of blacks at the mines. Then it show where the mine caved in or something like that, and a whole bunch of them got killed right there. So I know, Bluefield. Yeah, that's where it is. But that just goes to show.
Well, I appreciate you guys both sitting down with me and talking about this.
Thank you.
This stuff, I mean, people need to know this.
Yes, well, thank you. Like I said,
we appreciate
like
it.
I said, well, thanks for you. I could tell it out, and you're like, because for a long time I wouldn't talk. Nobody, somebody might have come and say, well, really?
Yeah, he wasn't saying it to me.
No, I wouldn't.
He wasn't saying it to me.
But see, thank you.
And I wouldn't say nothing either. Me and him started talking to each other.
Yeah. But thank you.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, now I got out. Somebody knows what I went through.
Yeah.
You know, at least you put it on the paper. So therefore,
this is going to be out in a database where people can listen to it wherever they are. They can get into the internet and listen to it. I'm going to try that. I'm going to. Launch date is Memorial Day. Yeah. That's when I'm gonna.
You know, I think that's a lot of times when I first got on the sheriff's department, and called my military experience or certain things. I remember one time I had a cruiser right there on Hopewell Drive where the dog pound is. Part of the cruiser and started crying. I didn't know why I was crying. And I went to what's the name over here. They said, "What were you thinking?" I said, "I don't know." They couldn't find out. I wouldn't tell nobody in the sheriff's department. I went to the doctor to tell him what I was doing. Couldn't find out. A couple of other guys, lieutenants at the sheriff's department, had the same exact problem that was in the military. They start crying. And I said, "You start crying?" I said, "Do you know why?" I said, "George, I don't know why." But they were military too. Because what happened when we see little kids, especially kids now, it gets me. When we see little kids that's got killed, you saw in the military, and there we can't do nothing about them. You had the little kid laying there, you can't even stop. You had to go right past them, and they're still laying there. That guy. Now when I went down here, a little blonde kid, a little blonde girl, at the hospital, and then the three. I was shift sergeant. The three deputies came out and said, "Sergeant, can you take this case?" I said, "Well, we got a couple of cases outside going. Why don't you guys go ahead and take it, and I'll take your case." "Oh, thank you, Sergeant." And I went in, right? And the lady was telling me where she took her daughters to the hospital so many times. Anyway, that was kind of simple. But I said, let me go see the daughter. So I went downstairs in the hospital here, where the dead bodies are. And the little blonde little girl was laying. She had no clothes on, laying there, and she was dead, And that did something to me. And I knew what happened. Those guys were military too. They walked out. See, even though you have military, I don't think that's why I said to myself, when I see these guys turn around shooting people, I said to myself, I'm sure you're sorry for those people who died. I really, really am, more than anything. But does anybody think about that guy who killed them? He went off. He saw something. When he first went in the military, he was just like us. You know, he wasn't nobody. He wasn't no killer or nothing. He was just like a young guy. He go in, he saw things, and something snapped in him. You know, now he wanted to be a killer himself. You know what I mean? And he himself probably so deadly sorry. You see what I'm trying to say? But today he isn't treated like someone. You know what I'm trying to say? It's hard to, you know, it's hard to see that young fella. And there's several of them. Well, we just had a shooting not too long ago.
Right.
You know, but the shooting we were seeing, it's been happening a long time. You know, these guys go to service, you know, and you see a couple police officers, things happen to them too. You know what I mean? A lot of them who been in military, they're seeing it there, and they're getting double whammy. They come here, and like I said, when I was crying, Phillip, I did not know why.
Well,
Something else, something when I told the doctor says, you know, you don't know why, but your inside knows why. The inside is crying for you. You're not crying, but the inside is doing it to you. And not until I found out I was a lieutenant in the sheriff's department. He was a friend of mine who's a police chief at Union Township, and it happened to him too, Duke Barber.
well,
He was crying too, and I said, Duke, I said, why? I said, George, I did not know why.
you know, yeah.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
You don't know why?
Yeah, but no, but I know the thing. But you like that. Luckily, I get into big drugs. Now I will tell you, when I was in Vietnam and Thailand, right, the first time I didn't know nothing about mortars. I didn't know a thing about mortars, bombs, nothing like that, right? Well, somebody they a mortar right past the building, and the Byrd went out, and I happened to be outside, so we went down these bunkers, right? And this lieutenant, he gave me a joint about this big. He said, "Smoke it." Now, I'm just drinking, smoking this thing, right? And now, hold it now. Here I am. I'm 18 years old. I'm in a bunker, a new ground. I'm crying for my mama, and I can't get to her, but I wanted my mama. And then I got high, did I? So, damn. Good. But the reason I said, you know, after I got through out of that and everything, and for that year and a half I was there, but a lot of my friends, they were there, and they got to heroin and everything else.
So, yeah, a lot of guys on the
And yes,
yeah,
and a lot of them, a lot of those veterans, Army, Marines, Air Force,
Navy
they was got. I mean, it was shit, heroin, coke, anything you wanted.
Yeah.
And they got addicted.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, luckily, I backed off, you know, and everything. But I was thinking about that, and I was thought about, because they didn't help none of those kids about the heroin, the coke, and it was cheap. I mean, you're like, back then.
No, that, but what you was going through, it relieves you of the pain.
Yes.
See, that's what a lot of people didn't realize. People is going through all this kind of stuff. But a lot of times, do you know what? I remember sometimes I go to a guy and something happened. He's a military guy, and he's been on drugs and everything. He's going through this, and I take him to the side. I said, "You got to try to get yourself off this. Try, Georgia. I'm really trying." And they get over and over again. They try to get themselves off and off and off. And sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. But those guys why they on there because of things that has happened to them.
I knew.
That's what it is. But the world don't see it that way. Do you know? But that's why I say I'm really kind of glad to see a lot of guys who was in the military, who are police officers, because they know what it is. They know what those guys went for. They're not just smoking as we smoke. Now these young kids who never been in the service before, that was a different story. You know, but these guys that came from Vietnam or something like that.
Yeah.
It's
If they
a
didn't
relief.
there-
It's a relief for them guys.
Because like I said,
Yeah.
stuff down there when you're what they tell me at one time in Vietnam, if you made it 40 days, you might but you know and everything, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And once you get to thinking about, well, like because I'll tell you there for a while, I was because once I got into it there, but like I said, my one partner, he's dead now, but he was into heroin, and let's see, that was Alan, and Tony, he was into coke and anything else, and he was an addict and everything. But they was both Army, and like I said, they was there. But see, I know they did a lot more things than I did.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point is, when they finally get back, and they try the VA to help them and everything.
Just wasn't there.
Yeah. See, and with the own Army put us in the position
Yeah.
to get in that position.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't know
No,
I didn't know nothing about weed till I got there. Just like my partners, they didn't know nothing about heroin
Yeah.
or nothing like that.
Yeah, I didn't know
It
like
just
that.
happened. It was so cheap,
Yeah.
and it was something to keep their mind together.
Yeah. It was
And survive.
Yeah. It was a
You
survival
know,
type
and
of
then
thing.
you come back, and especially me, I knew that I had to get off of it and everything because I didn't go nothing real dangerous.
Right.
But my friends and I've seen a couple of them, right? They was into it real heavy,
You couldn't get off.
and they couldn't get out, and
Yeah,
the,
they couldn't get off of it.
and
yeah.
the VA
Yeah.
give them a help, do something,
Yeah.
and they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's another reason that, bro, I wouldn't tell nobody. I would say
Yeah,
to him,
yeah.
you, but somebody come out now, I can talk about it.
Well, you know what? Another thing, you see a lot of guys, military guys from Vietnam.
Yep.
You see a lot of motorcycle guys because as a group they hang out together.
Yeah.
Because they understand each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I know when I was on Sherpa, they had a gang came here from Buckeye. They was in Buckeye Lake.
Huh?
A lot of people were scared of them, but they were all military.
Yeah.
But they came from Vietnam, and they was high on that all stuff. You know what I mean? And I never forget. I came. I think a couple of us talking to the guys. The guys, you gotta leave out of this area. You gotta leave out of this high. Okay. Then we start talking about military. So I'm military too. You know. And they understood. They understood what was going on. But this area here was really bad because it was Buckeye Lake. You know. And Buckeye Lake, a little small place, you know, they're not used to anything like that, you know, and they left, you know what I mean? But see what it is, and there's a lot of gangs like that, a lot of, because these guys, they understand each other.
Yeah.
They understand that. That's why me and you are so close, I think, because we understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, what happened, they don't, they only thing they see heroin as something. Because heroin is a thing where it's a sickness. You could love your mother to death and you will kill her. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You love her to death. And after you did it, what are you? I mean, you're not even human. You love her to death and you will kill her.
Right.
You know, before this stuff. So see, that's why things have got to be done. I don't know what really can be done about it, but I mean, things should be done and what's
That's what I'm saying, you know.
Yeah, it should be done about this, you know what I mean? But it's a blessing that, you know, a lot of my guys that I know is like on the police department here in Newark and Heath, a lot of guys that we didn't, you know, it didn't affect us. Maybe it could be because we had help right away.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in fact, it was just so shocked. It was so, and this had only been me about a year ago when I started mentioning this crying thing. And I'm not mentioning this thing to the guys, and I said, "Oh no, I'm talking to these guys. These guys don't think I want to cry baby." They said, "Huh?" Duke, the Union Township Police Chief, George, that happened to me. I said, "Oh yes, I was in Buckeye Lake. I just pulled the car over and I just started crying. I don't even know why. It was a good day, and Captain Paul Short, licking his shirt, says, me too." So all of us drinking coffee, and we all think about, and that came up. And there's a guy, he's head of up north, up in East Military too, up in not Johnstown, way past Johnstown, up in Mount Vernon. It's a black guy. He's head of, I think he's the captain or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it happened to him too. You see, all the things that what it is. You see these, just like the fireman we out there in Hanover, and we're looking for this kid, and I stood right here, and I was a shift sergeant, and the guy says they had other calls. I said, "Well, I'll look for the kid." So I sent other guys away, called the fire department to send the dogs. And a lady, she was from Zanesville. She had given a little picnic, and she lost one of the little kids. And she had, I think, 7. It was just her and the 7 kids, and one got missing. Well, there's a little strip of water there. And what happened, the dogs couldn't find her. So I had a fireman to stand. I think I had 6 firemen to stand across like this. And I stood right here. And I told the guys to walk towards me. And as they walked towards me, the guy on the end, you know, he got as close as maybe me and here. And right in front of me, he did like this and pulled his little baby up out of the water. And what happened when the baby didn't come up, he reached underneath, it was a culvert like this. The water coming, the water keep on pushing it back in there. And when he walked in and he just throwing his hands, he didn't know what he got. And when he pulled that little baby up right in front of my eyes. And that did something to me. And did something to that fireman. He was like this. He was shaking, pulling a little baby, shaking a little baby in his hand. Little things like that where people don't see. Now some, like what I'm talking to you now, these a lot of young kids, it goes deeper into them. And that's why you get these, this little kid that was in the military, he ain't been there that long. They kill those people. You see me, do all that shooting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
These people, they're not long history of guys. These guys just been, and I think that he went to see the health, you know what I mean? But I always think about myself, I wish they could do something with the guy, and have to tell the parents that they're glad for his service. You know what I mean? That mother, all she knows, she sent her son in the military, hoping the son do good, and then he does something like this, she's drastic. She tried to send her, to protect this country. But look what he did. He couldn't help it. You see what I'm trying to say?
No, I see exactly what you're
What are they going to do about that guy? Because we know the people he did it to, we know they're going to get as much help as we can give them. Because they're in a real bad, their army just got killed. They're in the same boat. I mean, they got killed, not even by enemy fire.
Right.
You see.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to work on in this country.
You're right. I mean, there's still a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, it really is.
These young guys. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I say, I appreciate